What's up, y'all? Just wanted to talk quickly about this song, Acid Rock, on our album. Um, so, that song, now that I'm thinking about it and how it was written and where it came from, was sort of grew out of this sort of a two-step process that I kind of created for myself without really knowing it, that had some really transformative effects on my life and on my outlook. And so I'm going to break it down real quick, best that I can. The steps were, one step was starting to relate to people and my friends and people around me from a non-egotistical point of view, and more and more, pushing myself to stay alert and watch, when I am relating to people from like, for instance, a place of judgment or a place of manipulation or a place of needing approval for them, or any of these kinds of things, just anything negative, and not sort of seeing the person for who they are, and accepting myself for who I am, anything that's sort of based on these illusions and these thoughts and needs. And so as I was doing that over the course of months, just a lot of the people around me in relationships there was just a lot of like good energy, good vibes, and peace growing up. Not like I was like causing tons of trouble in my life before, but nonetheless, there's just like, even if you're honest and authentically watching, a lot of the interactions with people, even on these like micro little flickers and levels, there's senses of judgment and manipulation and stuff always are creeping in there, because that's natural, and that's what we've learned, and that's just sort of where I was at, and where a lot of people operate from. But I was becoming more and more determined to not see people like that, and really see people as part of yourself, and trying to see how that was true, and starting to learn and feel that it really is true. If you're judging someone or upset with someone, there's some aspect of your mind that might be, or your life that is resonating. Like, if you're judging someone for doing something and you feel agitated and annoyed, there's some corollary to that in your life. It might be it's going to be probably a different form, a different thing that like, for instance, this person, say they are like eat way too many bananas. You're like, yo, you eat too much bananas. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm not. Why do you do that? But then it makes you all agitated, because you're probably eating like too many grapes. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. So it's like, if we're honest, there's gonna be something, and that's what makes us annoyed. Otherwise, we'd be like, you'd just be compassionate, like, dude, you eat too many bananas, and like, that's you just kind of like, you just feel like warmth towards them, and hopefully they can, you'd find a way to serve them better, or if there's a way to make the situation better, you're there for that, but you don't have to make it better. Anyway, so that was part one, just relationship oriented, changing how you relate to the people around you. And part two of it was taking a closer look at your own mind, because I had heard from this Zen teacher about the immaterial nature of our personalities and our thoughts, and to me, I never heard anything like that. So it was really like, wow, that really does seem true. That our personalities, or our thoughts are, from a scientific point of view, are just like these neuron patterns firing, and they create that thought, and then the relationship of thought to thought, so all these thoughts and all these stories make up more or less how we feel about ourselves and see ourselves and all this kind of stuff. So throughout the day, I was watching my mind. I'd be watching myself, very, trying to stay present and conscious of the different thoughts that I'm thinking, and getting drawn into in the stories. And I think a really key aspect to it for me was not just trying to and also, as I'm watching these thoughts, coming, you start to gain the sense of the sort of center space that's sort of free of the thoughts, and is sort of just naturally peaceful and accepting, and more that's really the magic space that isn't totally lost in the thought, and they call it, it's a space of awareness. It's just, what you are minus all these things is a super. That's the space. So anyway, and as I was watching my mind, like whether it was the highs or the lows, think like something I would have in the past, think like, oh, this is the kind of thoughts that I like, or like, I like, something's working out well for me, but even those I would give back to that sense of space, or just watch it, and not, and the lows too, but not just reach out when we're feeling low to those spaces of like not just try and get zen when we're feel desperate because we're unhappy, but also get turn to some of these ideas, which again, it's like the ideas are not external, it's just ourself, it's who you are, but turn to it when things are going well, because a lot of times I think we limit ourselves even with what we think are our highs, supposedly. The process of watching my mind in this way over the course of weeks and months, and making my life more peaceful, ended up culminating in this, in just like an experience that lasted for a night, where I was just sort of blown into space of just like that pure awareness, where any thought or any sense of personality that showed up was just immediately just sort of not let into that space. And so I was just full of just this like pure energy and like understanding, and it was a super transformative experience in that way, just because it sort of changed and verified from the limit of what I felt was possible, because I think that's a thing with a lot of people. You just don't know what is possible for yourselves, and we always limit ourselves and think like, oh, like I can't possibly give this up or do that, and it's like, just try see what happens, and you will be surprised if you will be surprised when you try and redefine your limits, because you will be able to. That's a fact. And so anyway, that's what the song Acid Rock was about. Because they always say the drugs like acid, psychedelic drugs, like they should show you the top of the mountain, but you got to be able to get there on your own. And in my own mind, I'd be like, yeah, right, like that doesn't seem even remotely possible, because these drugs are so powerful. But then, lo and behold, it is possible, because, once we start freeing ourselves up from all these thoughts that we've essentially made ourselves sort of slaves to, life can really start changing and becoming magical. And becoming real. I mean, magic is the reality, or mine just peace and freedom is the reality, and all the magic that comes with that, and the experiences that will come and go from that state. And so I just wanted to talk about that. And that's where that song came out of, and I'll try and find this two-part theory, or this two-part way to live a little bit more, because I thought it was super powerful, and I'm still doing it. And it's a sunny day. Feels good. Later, y'all.